All right, fellas. What's up, y'all? It's good to see you too. And it's good to hear or talk to all of you at home and see all of you at home. I'm imagining you're all beautiful people. This is What You Spinning. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. We are here for episode 112. How the hell are we doing, guys?
112. Jeez, we are
Wow.
solid.
I can't
Nice.
count that high. Crazy.
At least not without messing up a couple of times between 1 and 112, you know.
No, things are good, man. It's been a busy week around my house, but other than that, just listening to music and slinging cards on the bay.
Hell
And
yeah. Hell yeah. Colpo, what about you, man? Anything new and exciting going on?
Pretty stoked about the World Cup, the games going on today.
Mm-hmm.
Norway, England, that should be killer. That should be good. And then Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
Switzerland. It's gonna be a good day.
In France, didn't France win yesterday?
France beat the shit out of Morocco, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was dog walk their asses. Kind of similar to how the US got absolutely shit whipped on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
Hell yeah, man. Anybody listening to anything cool they want to share with the people or
people, the beautiful people. No. Revisits mostly. Jamie Branch,
Mhm.
the Young Gods. Um,
Nice. Oh
and
yeah, I was singing Young Gods to you at the card show two
you
weeks
were.
ago. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Um, hell yeah. No, I don't really have anything either. Been listening to a lot of like house and deep house and like drum and bass, kind of getting into that version of my sunshine music. So that's been really fun. I just have a massive, like, I think it's probably up to 13 hours now of various types of electronic music except for ambient. And so I've just been playing the hell out of that. And then at night, I've been reading this week. I finished the Joey Diaz book last night, so that was pretty sick.
Nice.
And I've just been listening at night. I'm doing my ambient playlist, so just kind of electronic, but stuff I'm familiar with slash picking up new stuff here and there. But hell yeah,
Nice. If you like electronic, Dorian, I know you've heard that artist. It's like one of Fortet's side projects. It's like all the weird symbols and stuff.
yeah, I showed you that, didn't I?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he just did an album like recently, like a few days ago.
What?
Yeah,
How did I
gotta
not get
check it out.
notified? Oh
It's
my
a lot
God.
of some of it is like some of the singles already, but there's a couple new tracks on the album. It's good.
Oh dude, I wonder if they're gonna press that.
That would be cool. I would look forward to that if they did.
Me
I've
too.
been listening to that. Besides that, Kodak, Kodak Black, unironically, kind of fucking good. Um, and some R&B. I've been getting back into R&B and neo soul, like artists like Cleo Soul, like Minnie Riperton, like some old school stuff too. Jill Scott. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I've been grooving to lately.
Nice, nice. I was spinning a hiatus coyote the other night. Speaking of
Mhm.
neo soul projects, great stuff, great stuff. Hell yeah, guys. Well, shall we dive on into today's content then?
Let's do it.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, that was our little intro piece. We're just let you know what's going on. Go ahead and cue that theme music. We'll see you on the other side. Peace. What up, y'all? This is What You Spinnin', episode 112. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and hey, that's Jake. And speaking of that guy, he's gonna be starting things off, kicking things off. Couldn't figure out what I wanted to say, so we'll say both. For today's episode 112. Jake, what the hell are you bringing to the table for us, man?
Yeah. Some bit bop, some rap, some beats and rhymes, whatever you want to call it. It's Larry June's. Spaceships on the Blade. Came out in 22. Pretty cool project. Really got me into Larry June. I've been listening to Larry June for a while now. Started out with Orange Print, but then this album I recognized couple features, couple producers off of it. Decided, you know what, I'll pick it up, I'll give it a listen, and I've been a fan ever since. And a lot of different projects have come after this. I think he's just in the making of dropping a new album in a week. So some other things to look forward to. But yeah, what did you guys think about it?
Yeah, this was my first time like fully diving into a solo Larry June project. With the other rappers that we listen to, he pops up pretty frequently, whether it's, fucking insert somebody here, Rock Marcy or any of those. He's done Griselda stuff, hasn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I heard of him through a couple of features that he had done with those cats. And then I remember when Life is Beautiful came out, that album that's him, Two Chains, and Alchemist. And I fucking love that album. That's an incredible album. And so, getting a Two Chains feature on this album, 3 years before it came out is pretty cool. You kind of get to go back in time and see like, oh, this was like one of those little lead ups to what would become a really impressive album. And I gotta say, man, I was like thrown off, but in a good way, as I always say. I was thrown off because I was, expecting some more of that, feature Larry June and Life is Beautiful Larry June. And this was just like really mellow and like had a lot of groove to it, and some sex appeal at some points. And yeah, so really kind of showed me a side of Larry June that I didn't know existed. And so yeah, I'm a big fan. I kept coming back to this particularly hard in the past couple of days. So good shit, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll follow suit with Dorian. It's my first introduction into anything that he's done in general, and it's fun. It reminded me a little bit of like '90s early hip hop. Like it's very smooth and relaxed, and it has that vibe. And that's kind of what I thought it was at first. I'm like, wow, this is cool. How have I never heard this? And like, this is pretty modern. So having his own style influence with that, and it just sets a good vibe for the whole album. It's good summertime music. It's mellow. It's accessible. It was really cool. Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't know if I would pick up on it so fast, but I ended up liking it a lot, and it's been on my rotation even without the cast music. I've been playing it left and right. So good pick.
Nice. Awesome. Hell yeah. It's a good listen. It has that very Bay Area feel to it. I mean, he's from San Francisco. So it has that, West Coast Cali feel written all over it. It's bouncy. It's got a lot of swagger. At some points, yeah, like Dorian said, it's got like hip hop and then R&B styles also to it. Some songs slow down. And then some, a little bit romantic also. So yeah, it has a little bit of everything for the genre, and then it has some fantastic features like Dorian mentioned. It's got Two Chains, Currency, Alchemist is on here, does production, also production from Jake One, from Cardo Wing. So it's a pretty solid project all around. This is I don't know, like 10th, 12th, probably more. He's done a bunch of projects before this. Um, so it's a pretty deep discography that he has. And after this, it would just pave the way for other fantastic projects. Like a year after that, he did the Greatest Escape with Alchemist, just him and Alchemist, and then, like Dorian said, the other one with Two Chains. So yeah, he's been all over the place. He's been on a roll, and it's definitely this was one of my pickups that I found and really got me into him.
He does it. It's nice to know that he comes from the Bay Area because he does have like that type of sound, very much rooted in 90s. At certain times I'm like, am I listening to Regulators? Because he kind of mimics the Warren G cadence a little bit. And it is, like I said, it was like a very welcome, like, oh shit, like I had no idea that this even existed. It's like very low riders, hoopties type of vibe just
Yeah.
oozing out of this album. It's like, and then of course it's like funny because what is he posing in front of like a Porsche or Ferrari, and it's like, no man, you need to be like, this is just such hoopty music. Like it's great. And I think when you introed it last episode, you were like, it's sunny. I'm listening to this, and I was like, man, this is perfect. Just like driving with the windows and like slinked back, man.
Yeah.
Great, great. I love it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have to
perfect
listen.
timing. Perfect driving music for sure.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's so many influences. It sounds like a little bit of E40 vibe with the way the
Yeah.
songs are laid out, and yeah, it's just mellow, man. It's happy music in a sense for me. It was fun to listen to. So
Yeah, it's a good flow. It's a good style, like teetering back and forth from rap to R&B, and then just what he's rapping about too. It's not like, anything super crazy. He's more so talking about like self-worth and success and like investments and this and that, whatever. It's at points it's kind of funny. It's kind of like it's he's just making fun of everything, but it's kind of, what he's saying, it is kind of deep in a sense, because it's more so just like self-reflecting, try to be the best version you are. So besides that, I mean, it's a pretty fun listen. It's pretty mellow. You could listen to it while you're driving. Typically, that's what I've been listening to recently. Just been bumping it. I just got a new car, and if the speakers weren't already torn, they definitely are now because I've been blasting it. So it's fun.
Yeah. No, and it's fuck, what was I gonna say? So who all did you said Alchemist and then Jake one and who else? Like, are there any other like notable producers on this? Because I could hardly find any information on this album.
There's like Cardo Wings. Those are the main three. There's a couple others like Sango, Savan, a bunch of different other producers. I'm not too
Okay.
familiar with their work, but it has
Same.
a very
Yeah.
like West Coast
Yeah.
Bay Area bouncy sound to it.
Right. Well, and that's why I ask, because it's like, outside, like even the guys that like produce for Kendrick Lamar and those West Coast TDE acts like don't sound this
Mhm.
rooted. And so I was like, who the fuck is making these beats, man? Like we need to skyrocket their career based off just off this podcast. I'll start pushing them because this stuff is like it's unreal. It's like you said, it's bouncy, and then there's like super cool bass synth usage going on, which you guys know just gets my fucking jollies going. And yeah, man, it's just you get a Duckworth feature, which I always forget that guy exists until I hear him on a track, and I'm like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
guy actually kind of rips, And so that's it is kind of one of those projects where you look at it and outside of Two Chains, Larry June, and Alchemist and some of those guys, it's kind of like a homegrown feel, which is again very much rooted in that 90s Bay Area rap, like it sounds old as hell, Matt, you said it, I said it, I'm like, this is hoopty music, but anyway, I was like, man, we got to skyrocket those guys' careers. It's the shit rules.
Yeah, Cardo. He's done a bunch of projects with Cardo Wings and Jake One. He's also a legendary producer. He's done a bunch of production with Mos Def and with MF Doom. He has a couple songs with him, so it's also like pretty cool. Also, the features too. Currency is all over this. We get a Sid a feature,
Oh,
Babyface Ray. So it's got a little bit of everything.
yeah. It's good. It's great. The currency feature on this is nice. Always a welcome. Like anytime I hear Juicy J or currency on a track and I'm not expecting it in an album, I'm like, oh hell yeah. Like this just went up two rungs for me. Like hell yeah. Get these guys just crawling out of the woodwork.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. Larry June's pretty cool. He's been blowing up recently.
Yeah.
I really like his music, so definitely felt like it was appropriate to bring up, especially now that it's getting hotter out. You gotta drop the top on the whip, but
Hmm.
we can't do that.
Yeah.
Don't have money like that.
Well,
But
I remember, sorry to cut you off real quick. I remember I
okay.
was talking to you at one point and I was kicking around bringing up Life is Beautiful. So I'm glad that, we got a true Larry June solo project to start off. And then maybe, a couple months down the line, we'll revisit old Junie.
Oh yeah, that or Spiral Staircases or The
Hmm.
Great Escape. There's a bunch of potential for sure. But yeah, let's get into top threes.
Let's do it.
For me, honorable mention, Spaceships and Orange Juice. Um, Crazy title. Raps exactly what it sounds like, just about fucking cars and drinking orange juice and drinking juice or whatever. Number three, Still Boomin'. I like that Two Chains feature. It's perfect. Two Chains comes in and just he really takes over that track. And it subsequently after this they would do projects together. So it was well starting in the making. Something good. Uh, Organic Adjustments for number two. And my favorite track was Corte Madera, CA. It's just that bouncy, the horns, the raps, everything. It's that's what Larry June's all about.
Hell yeah. Honorable mention for me was I'm Him. Just super, like, just so much swagger in that song. Had to give that one a shout out. Number three for me is Organic Adjustments. Liked that that was kind of buried toward the back half of the album. It was kind of a sleeper track, you know. Number two for me was I'll Make Time, kind of the first in a small run of songs where he kind of gets a little more romantic, you know, a little more sexy with it. So that was kind of neat. And the number one for me, based off of the same reasons that Jake said, Still Booming. That Two Chainz feature is just disgusting. And it's, you know, like we said, it was one of the early collabs.
Nice. Yeah, my top three went a little bit different, but I like that. We all kind of chose different tracks on the album. Honorable mention for me, just for the Alchemist feature, was Breakfast in Monaco. Love that track. 321 was In My Pockets, Things You Do. And then I like the last track on the album, Appreciate It All. It was kind of a good serenade into the end of the album. And I don't
Hmm.
know, just had a mellow flow to it. So good way to round it out.
Hell yeah. And hey, this album was a great way to start off episode 112 of What You Spinnin'. That was Jake's pick for this week. That album being Spaceships on the Blade by Larry June. A lot of good features, whether it's producers or rappers on this. That was released in 2022. We're going to move right along and talk about Matt's pick for this week. It's What You Spinnin', episode 112. I'm Dorian. That's Matt. That's Jake. We'll catch you in about two shakes of a lamb's ass. Peace. All right, we just kicked off with a banger of a Bay Area rap album with Jake's pick, but it's time to move it right along and completely flip this episode on its head for a second with Matt's pick. I'm pretty stoked to talk about this one. What you got for me, dude?
I went down a different path than I normally do. I mean, this is kind of my genre, but not really. It's a band called Frontline Assembly. This is their album Echogenetic from 2013. Really cool band. I saw them live a couple years back with Ministry and Gary Newman, and they were the first band to go on stage. And just the way they came out was so like steampunk and industrial. It was like the classic industrial setup with the instruments and like the weird things that you're like, what the fuck is that instrument? And they're just
Yeah.
making all this noise. And then they just get into it, and then some of the songs start to have a little bit more of a melody, and I'm like, fuck, how have I not heard this band before? And so after that show, I dove into this album for whatever reason. And this is their 15th album. So they've been around for a long time. Lead singer Bill Lieb was with a band called Skinny Puppy. That's kind of a well-known industrial act from the early 80s, and they've been doing stuff forever. Huge band for that genre. And so he kind of split off and did his own thing. This band is a little bit more accessible, I feel, than Skinny Puppy. Skinny Puppy is a little bit more like just weird. I guess that's a good way to describe it. Nothing wrong with it. But this is just more melody and more like I feel like this album has more of like a drum and bass kind of sound to it a little bit, but they're just fun. It's cool lyrics. This album is one of my favorites. Again, it's their 15th one, and they have a bunch more. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would say it is more accessible and it does kind of this album in particular, the particular kind of shifts away from like what people understand as industrial. You know, it kind of starts to border on like that horror album that we covered.
Hmm.
A little bit of Wolf Girl by Machine Girl, but I ended up listening to the album that came out in 2023 of theirs, and it sounds a shit ton like that, which I think is called MG Ultra or something like that. Um, and so the fact that it's the guy from Skinny Puppy, which, you know, as you mentioned, huge industrial act in the late 80s. It and he's putting out an album like this and you're listening to it and you're like, dude, this could have come out today. Like, and it's, you know, it did come out what in 2013, you said?
Yep.
It's just wild and it's got so much polish to it and just it's aggressive, you know, on the it's aggressive on the ears because that's what industrial music is and drum and bass, you know, all of this stuff. It's not supposed to be accessible for grandma. But they do kind of use they use that and their like melody writing capabilities and kind of really make something that is just super interesting to listen to. And I kept like coming back to it because and I'm gonna have to keep coming back to it because I'm like, I don't think I still fully understand what this album is. Like, there's so much cool shit in it that it's like, but yeah, great pick, man. I'm a big fan of this.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd seen this name before, Frontline Assembly, but I'd never listened to their music at all. But I have seen their name all over the place. Um, and this is my first time also listening to it. I never stumbled upon anything like this. Listening to it, it does sound very industrial, very electric. Some songs at some points, it also I hear some dubstep come into the mix. Like it has also influence from dubstep, which I think at the time is what was popular in the 2010s. The early 2010s is,
Oh
very
yeah.
big dubstep movement, a bunch of, different artists
Hmm.
blending that into their sound. So, but
Hmm.
it still has the very organic, industrial, electronic, what they're known for.
Hmm.
And I was just curious because, like you said, Matt, this is their 15th album.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Larry June, the album we just talked about, that's like his 15th, but he's been doing it for like 10 years. These guys have been doing it since the 80s. So I went back and heard some of their older work, songs off of Disorder and Tactical Neural Implant.
That's
Uh,
a great album. That tack,
it
yeah.
was good. It was good. It was so way different than what this was. It was very like classic 80s techno. That's what it sounded like almost at certain points, a little bit of Depeche Mode at a certain, like if you were to put anything similar. Like Nerve War songs on Nerve War, very 80s. The Blade also almost kind of like that techno blade. It sounds like that, but this is just completely different. It's a lot harder in a sense. Like it's a lot more raw, and it has those dubstep elements too all over it. So I would have loved this listening to it back in the 2010s because that's what I was into. But even now that I'm kind of have a little more experience with different genres, I could see this also fitting in my same alleyway. So yeah, good album.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it. Different band, cool sounds, good instrumentation. And I know when this album came out, there was a lot of different technology coming out as well with computers, and the band itself got more virtual synthesizers going on, and you can hear all those different electronic sounds in this album, and it's pretty unique. You got the anthems, you got the choruses. I mean, it's the first four tracks alone. It sets the mood for this whole album, and it's just like it gets you up. During that show that I went to, that concert, when they were performing, everybody was standing up for the most part. How can you not when they're playing this loud music and it's like you, yes, you, and like everybody's getting into it. So yeah, a great band to see live and a lot of other albums, like you said, Jake, to dive into. And this is definitely a lot different, the way it sounds, the way they put it out, and they kind of molded it to sound like more modern for that time. And I think they did a really good job at that. To be present and reflective in this that day and age, and being your 15th album and still making a dent in the music scene is pretty cool. So, good band.
Exactly. Yeah, to have something that, we can even look back on 13 years after it's been released and kind of see and look at the time frame of when it came out and then acknowledge, hey, this is a band that's been around for fucking ever. This is their 15th project, which is unreal to me. And, they kind of this is my first introduction to them outside of what we were listening to in your car when I got a ride with you the other day. Um, it's I haven't listened to anything after this, but they kind of did what every artist tries to do when they're on the verge of becoming irrelevant, because like the dubstep movement of the 2010s was one of the craziest thing was more like the biggest music movement that the world had seen at the time since rock and roll, like it was crazy how much this shit was exploding. And they could have gone the Metallica route and just completely sold out and completely ruined almost like, because Metallica, like now it's like, I don't want to see them at all. Even if they're playing the greatest hits, I don't give a shit. Like they suck. Um, and they could have tried to do, they could have just ditched their whole formula and just tried to be Boys Noise or Skrillex or any of this, throw an artist that was coming out at the time. They could have tried to be the next Dr. P and Flux Pavilion, and they didn't. They said, hey, we're Frontline Assembly. We're going to give you stuff. We're going to use some of these aspects of this crazy cool shit that's coming out, but we're going to keep our roots that have been, as one of the forefathers of fucking industrial music. Like we're gonna keep that, but also add this new spin to it. And it does make me interested now that you guys recapped some of their earlier stuff. I want to listen to those. I didn't get a chance to. And then I want to see if they've put anything out since, because now I may be talking out of my ass and I don't know. But anyway, I was like, Jake, you brought up a good point that like that was what was coming out at this time. And you can hear some of those aspects of it. And then like I was listening to this and I went and, like I said, I was listening to my EDM playlist. I was listening to a lot of Rez. And I was like, dude, I would be curious to know if she was influenced by Frontline Assembly at all, because there are some glaring similarities that are actually really cool to me. So just food for thought.
Yeah, I went down a rabbit hole and I was like, hey, if these guys have been doing it this long, let me see what their other stuff is just for comparison, see what the difference is. And there is a big difference. I haven't heard anything newer, like anything after this. But this album in itself, like it's true to what they are, but at the same time still adding something new. And I would have been really curious, Matt, how was the show? Like did they have like a crazy light show? Were they like
Yeah.
doing anything on stage?
Yeah, it was definitely got the elaborate light show going. It was just three musicians. You got the drummer, the lead singer, no instrument, and a guitar synthesizer player. And Billy, the lead singer, was still doing things on like a some sort of board. So he's still, manipulating sounds and shit like that. But I was more impressed with all the noise they were putting out for just three musicians. It's like, geez, like they know what they're doing, and they just the way they started the show, guy comes out and he's just like he looks like he's from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. He just comes out, like, plugs it in, and they just start going for it. And just I don't know, it was just a cool vibe, it had a really big effect on me, and I think that's why I went back and like, what else have they done? What I
Mm-hmm.
want to hear this album again. They played songs that weren't on Echogenetic that I haven't
Mm-hmm.
found yet because I don't remember what they were called, unfortunately, but. That just gives me more reason to go down that rabbit hole and listen to their other albums. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
good light show, good stage presence. They own the stage, and like I said, for the most
Mm-hmm.
part of that show, they were all on their feet. We're all standing
Mm-hmm.
up, vibing with the music. So
Nice.
glad you guys liked it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course. So sorry if you mentioned this. Was that show your exposure to them then?
it was.
Like,
I'd never heard of
that's
them.
fucking cool.
I went to someone that I work with was at that show too, and he had mentioned it before because I said, "Hey, I'm going to that show. You're going too. Let's hook up." And we ended
Mm-hmm.
up sitting right next to each other, but. He had talked about the opening band being Frontline Assembly, and he was like, "Yeah, they're a great band. I've been listening to them for years." And I was like, "All right, if he likes them, we have similar tastes." And he was spot on for me. I was like, "Yeah, this is Depeche Mode and times 10. Real
Yeah.
in your face."
Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. I love that. I love when you get introduced to a band like because of they're an opener or
Mm,
something like that. So
yeah.
rock on, dude.
Well, we can dive into top threes if you guys are ready.
Yeah, sure. I'm down if you are.
Let's do it. Uh, the album starts off really solid and it kind of blends and slows down a little bit in the middle and then ends really well. But I think for me, a lot of the great tracks are the first few. Honorable mention is going to be the title track, Echogenetic, just a cool album name and a cool album title and a cool song title. And then 3, 2, 1, Killing Grounds. Number two, Deadened. And then my favorite track was Leveled. They're all just good anthem songs for me, and they're on repeat in my playlist all the time. So.
Rock on. Hell yeah. I'll go off of that. Honorable mention for me was Ghosts. Just kind of was a little more orchestrated, like not as, crazy. Number three for me was Leveled. Really liked that song as well. Number two for me was Exhale. They kind of did like cap the album off with four really good songs. So I really liked that. And the number one for me was Deadened. Just it's massive. There's a lot of noise going on, but my God, I want to shake my ass when I listen to it. Like it's just got like it's got like fucking, you want to like Maynard dance to it. It's got like this weird groove to it, man, which you don't find with industrial music unless you listen to like fucking Comba Christ, which, they only put out like one good album.
Nice. I'll follow up that. I did want to shout out the album cover. It's crazy. It looks like some Matrix shit. And all of the other album covers, I was looking at them this morning, like really looking at them. They got some cool shit going on. Honorable mention for me, Killing Grounds. And then number three, Leveled. Number two, Prototype. And then my favorite track was Heartquake. I just listened to that like at least 5 times this morning. It was a good listen.
Right on, dude. Hell yeah, Matt. You done did it again. Something I don't know if I would have ever listened to unless I got a ride in your car like I did or you brought it up. And
Right?
my God, dude, this is impressive. I'm gonna go back and listen. And Jake is correct. All of their album covers are crazy looking. I just did a scroll through to see if they had anything after this. They do. And I was like thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, I gotta focus. These are crazy. It's like Mars Volta, but times 11, you know? So yeah, that album was 2013's Frontline Assemblies Echogenetic, which is their 15th album in their discography. So shout out to them for still hanging on there. And I think they've put out at least a handful since. That was Matt's pick for episode 112 of Whatchu Spinnin'. Hey, that's Matt and that's Jake. I'm Dorian. We'll be right back in Two Shakes of a Lamb's Tail with a special surprise for my pick for this week. We'll see ya. Peace. All right, y'all. We're back. We're here to wrap it up today with the third and final pick for episode 112 of What You Spinning. That's Matt. That's Jake. Oh, and look, you guys remember a familiar face. Friend slash family of the show, Alex, is joining us to talk about some hip hop as per usual. And I'm Dorian. How the hell is everybody doing? Alex, what's up?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. Always fun chatting with y'all about good tunes.
Of course, of course. It's good to have you back. And this album has a little bit of, I brought it up for recency purposes and, kind of gave Alex a tidbit on the way up to the Kid Cudi show that we went to together. I was like, hey, this is coming in about 2 weeks' time. I just need you to be ready. Um, and so here we find ourselves. That album is Man on the Moon 1 by Kid Cudi, released in 2009. His debut studio album. Great mixtapes leading up to it. But yeah, this is I feel like a good place to start. I was torn between three albums, but I picked this one. It's probably overall my favorite album of his, but obviously a huge fan. But I'll let y'all take the floor.
Thank you. I've never listened to any album by him at all. Not sure why. You know me and my ignorance sometimes with modern day hip hop. You guys have kind of turned my head around a little bit more and introduced me to a lot of great artists, and this is on my list now. Day and Night, uh, sound
What?
like what the fuck? How have I not heard these songs before? I was repeating them all day. I was playing them for my son Crosby. We're both like chilling and grooving, and it's very accessible. It's not aggressive in any way. He can be, of course, but I feel like it's very just ambient and happy and floaty at times. I was impressed. I did not know what to expect going in, and I'm so glad you brought this album up. Thank you so much. It's a great album.
Absolutely. Matt, I feel like you would actually have kind of a good time going through some of his albums. Because there like he kind of does some Saul Williams-esque kind of shit on, like, he has a whole album where it's like rock instrumental type of shit behind it. And it takes a couple. I didn't like it when it first came out, but I've been listening to it since that show, and holy shit, it's actually a banger. So I feel like you would get a good kick out of I'll compile a little playlist for you and send it your way.
Yeah, send me some stuff. Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've all at some point at one point in our life, either that be out in the open, in the wild, at a store, somewhere, in passing, at a red light, have heard a Kid Cudi song.
At
Um,
a red light.
at a certain point. And it's crazy thinking that this was his debut and how many tracks are on here are like
Hmm.
super popular and mainstream. Songs like, Day and Night, Solo Dolo, um, Is There Any Love, Man on the Moon. A bunch of these songs are like hits, bangers. And it's cool that he has this it's like a narration kind of. It's like a story going on with Common in the background. Every now and then he'll pop in some cool features, cool productions on it. Crazy to say that, think that it's the debut. He did have like a mixtape before this, but this is like his actual like first like studio project coming out. But this would be a good start, jumping off point to, fantastic trilogy of albums for Man of the Moon. some albums after this he would do some collaborations. So yeah, Kid Cudi's a definitely a good artist, and I'm jealous of that show you guys went to. I'm sure that was a blast.
Yes, indeedy. Alex, what do you got, man? What do you kick us off with some of your thoughts first?
Man, this was an easy one for me. I time and time again, I always go back to Cudi as being my favorite music artist of all time. So this was a layup. No, screw that. This was a slam dunk, through the leg slam dunk. And yeah, like y'all said, crazy debut album that feels so polished. Like I love the common narration. Like you said, it kind of gives it that movie feeling. And I feel like you get a little bit of every side of Cudi with this one, where you get like the more introspective, like dealing with tough stuff. You get a little bit more of that. Just want to have fun and enjoy the whether it's just smoking while you're driving with the wind going through the car or whatever. A lot of different versions of Cudi you get on here, and I don't know, special one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one that has only gotten better as time has progressed. You know, at least for me, like I was mentioning before we hit record, I was high as fuck on my couch last night listening to this. And Pursuit of Happiness is like a great song, right? But I've heard it so many times that I it is usually skipped. But I was doing a full listen through for the episode, and I was sitting there and like listening to these lyrics, 3 months away from 30 years old. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, some of these are poignant as fuck, actually. I'm like, and I'm listening to like the rest of the album, and I'm like, dude, he's actually like, because I don't even know how old he was back then. Certainly not my age, younger than that.
Mhm.
And so I was like, dude, there's just even the stuff that, fucking Steve Aoki would go and remix on this album is actually like introspective, very well written lyrically and everything. And it's yeah, like as we said, insane debut album. Man on the Moon 1, 2, 3, great. Indicud, like this started like a good 10-year fucking just Cuddy heater for more or less. There's some stuff in there that I'm not as crazy about as this, but I mean, yeah, man, it is crazy to listen to an album that I am so familiar with because of how much I listened to it when like a decade ago, and have come back and revisited songs here and there. Like Alive is one of my favorite songs ever. So I'll play that every once in a while. But to come back to it and like have gone through, whatever trials, tribulations, just normal life shit. And now looking back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is so much more than just smoking pot, man. I'm like, this is so much more than that. I'm like, this is some crazy stuff. So I was like thanking myself last night. I'm like, you know what, dude? Good job on bringing this up because you were forced to like revisit this and like and I just think that's it's something that we've talked about a little bit on the podcast is like revisiting an album that you're so or you think you're so familiar with because you've listened to it for fucking ever, and then you listen to it where we are now in our lives and you're like, oh god like I appreciate this so much more now and in such a different way, and it means so much more to me, and it whatever. So I was like, you know what, good on you, Dorian, for bringing this up.
And the album's laid out really well too. It sounds like it took a couple of years for him to produce the album from 2007 to 2009. He took his time, and you can tell. Lyrically, anytime heard a track on this album, I would come back to it because it was so catchy, and I'd be like, "All right, that's a good song." And be like, "Oh, this next one's just as good." So I think
Mhm.
he just planned it really well, and I'm glad that he took time to, put his full energy into this debut, and that you can hear it. This is a really well done album, start to finish, in my opinion, and it takes a lot for me to like new hip hop, and this is at the top of my list now. Just when I think I found one, I find one more, and it just keeps going and go. I love it. So thank you
Hell
for
yeah,
bringing the
man.
album up. It's a great album.
Of course.
It feels like such a time capsule too. Like whenever I listen to it,
Oh,
I think of,
absolutely.
being like a teenager in high school listening to this and, being at a pool party and a song gets played or, the MGMT playing on Pursuit of Happiness. It's like, yes, that's what was big at the time. That's what people were listening to at the time. And then it still has those deep cuts like songs like Higher, Chip. The rapper, he's good, man. He's good. He's all over this. Same thing on a couple other projects he's on. Super underrated. I had forgotten that he was on this. So yeah, it's really has held up really good for a debut
Hmm.
for just the album in general. It still gets a bunch of play nowadays.
Well, and Alex can attest, Chip the Rip came out for the encore at that Cuddy show. and that was just unreal, dude.
Yeah, I got to hear Higher and Just What I Am, the two anthem songs for all those high school weed smokers. But obviously, there's so much more to those songs than that, too. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
just another layer to that whole concert that he took it to there at the end.
Hmm. Well, and like one of my favorite things, and it actually does tie back to this album from that show, uh, was when they did Day and Night. Like the stage setup was just so incredible. Like the stage setup alone was crazy to look at. But then they did Day and Night, and that like ending piece where it's like no 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 no. Like most rappers would just say fuck that, we're not doing it. That's
Cut
just an
it.
outro to a song. And I don't know what it was, but like everybody at that show was just so fucking into Kid Cudi that it was one of the coolest environments I'd been in, just watching from where we were. And I don't know if he was doing that, but it was almost like he knew we wanted him to let that outro play out, and fucking everybody was singing along to it. And it's like I am getting chills thinking about it, talking about it. Like it was one of the crazy, and I was like, something so simple became one of my favorite parts of that entire show. I was like, that is just so crazy. Everyone was just so into him. And, it's a highlight of this album for a very good reason. It's, I would argue probably his biggest song. People that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground as far as Cudi goes, like that song. But then it's like, as we always say, hey, there's other fantastic songs on that album. Which, side note, I got added to a Discord of a friend of mine, and there's like a music recommendation section, and people are like posting songs that I know. And it's either I know that full album, we've covered it on the podcast, and I'm being such a dickhead. I'm like, fantastic. I was like, great song, whole album's even better. Give it a listen. And I'll like reply with it, like a link to it. I'm just being a fucking menace. Everybody's like, Jesus Christ. But anyway, I digress. Any final thoughts, or do we want to scrap it up? Top threes?
What y'all think about the whole like dreams versus nightmares theme that he kind of did for some of the tracks? I thought that was one of the
Oh,
coolest parts of the album, to kind of like how it floats through the different dream states and sleep cycles as the kind of album takes its different turns.
great fucking question. I never
Yeah.
would have thought of that. It because it kind of adds like a concept album kind of spin to it, right? Because it's not fully, there is like the common interludes and whatever, but it does kind of, because we always talk about how albums flow, right? And like how tracks are laid out. And it's like it's almost like a hidden track, right? Like you kind of have to listen to it cover to cover to really get that kind of ebb and
Yeah,
flow between dream and nightmare, which is, those songs, Solo Dolo, Nightmare, whatever, is one of my favorite songs off this album. But that nightmare context doesn't mean shit unless you listen to the full thing. And so I thought that was a very interesting way to do it. And it kind of does feel very like you're floating through space. And I mean, that's just knocked it out of the park, top to bottom, from opening concept for the album, kind of burying it, but also making it, I don't know, it's a very complex album once you start to think about shit like that. I could go for
Yeah.
another 40 minutes on that, dude.
Yeah, on the like physical, like the vinyl of it, it has like it's sectioned out in like acts. So like act one is like the first three, act four or whatever. And like it's cool that he's doing that as like a concept. And then on that other side, if you like, it's a gatefold. The one I think I had a copy of it, but like it has some really cool artwork on it that it has like this like what's that diagram of like the human body with like the different,
Yeah.
it's like that, and it has a bunch of
Mhm.
different like different faces and images on it. It's pretty cool. You can look it up. It's pretty interesting. Really
I
cool
knew I
feature.
should have I knew I should have bought that off of you when you offered it to me for like $15 that one time.
Yeah, it's a big album too. It's like three
Yeah.
discs. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's cool that he did that concept, just making it like a light and day, day and night. Um, it's pretty neat. Anytime that too, anytime I hear day and night, I have to say what at any point. Or you go up
Hmm.
to anybody and you say that and they're gonna respond like that. Like
Yeah.
it has to be.
Hell yeah. Good question, Alex. Matt, any thoughts on that?
I like the themes, especially
Yeah.
on Solo Dolo. That's that nightmare version is very like haunting. The way that song is structured out, it's a little bit more not evil, but it's a darker
Hmm.
song on the album. It's one of the catchier ones. And the oh whoa, like
Oh.
it's a good
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
It's playing in my
I
ear right now.
I just kept doing on the drive up. I would just like conversation would die, and we'd just go whoa, whoa. Incredible. He's got pipes, man, and he
Mhm.
still does. Like this album came out 17 years ago, and we saw him, earlier or end of last month, and he's still got just such impressive range, and he's got a very unique voice. It's almost like it's like, oh, I understand why people don't like David Byrne from Talking Heads because he sounds like he's being strangled. Like Cudi kind of does have like a weird voice to him, but it fits so well within the music that he does, and he executes it still incredibly on stage. It's like anybody listening, you two that didn't get to go to that show, if you get a chance to see Cudi live within the next couple of years, Jesus Christ, do it. It's truly a treat. And I mean, we're 3 years away from the 20-year anniversary of this. So maybe he'll do a full I'm playing this whole album tour and my head would explode. So but yeah, shall we top three it up, my fellas?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do
let's
it.
do it.
Let's do it. All right. I will go first as per usual. Honorable mention for me is Alive. It was hard to put it as an honorable mention. I really wanted to put it in my top three, but I don't know. That song, just the groove in that song, and it's like Lion King After Dark type shit and fucking just incredible. I don't know, man. There's something about that song that just really gets me going. Number three for me was Solo Dolo, the one that we were just singing. I mean, because that's just wonderful. Number two for me was a song I damn near forgot about how much I liked it. Heart of a Lion. Again, another just singable song. No, no, no. I was walking to the card shop and I was just belting that as I'm walking through downtown Eugene. I was like, I'm the least crazy person on the street right now. Don't worry about it. And the number one for me was Sky Might Fall. Another one that I remembered it, but I was like, oh fuck, this is my favorite song on this album.
Nice. I'll follow that up. For me, honorable mention, just because how much play, how much it's just an iconic song for Kid Cudi and for this album, Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah,
That like, every now and then it'll come up and I'll entertain it, but for this album, I had to let it play, let it eat full on, and it's always nice to come back to. Number three for me, Higher. Forgot about that one. Number two, Man on the Moon, and then Alive. That I like, and all throughout this album too,
yes.
it's very like electronic. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different
Mhm.
electronic elements to it.
Yeah. Well, and sorry, just real quick, you mentioned that like it was kind of the first time, one of the first albums that got super popular that was leaning more into electronics,
Mm.
since graduation, because like graduation blew up the rap game, and then so this kind of followed shortly after that. But Matt, hit me.
It was tough for me. I mean, this album, start to finish, there's great tracks everywhere. But for me, honorable mention, Soundtrack to My Life, very slow, vibey, happy song. And then 321, Solo Dolo, Pursuit of Happiness. Obvious reasons we all like that song. And then Day and Night was my top choice because it's in my head forever
There you
now.
go.
It's never going away.
Hell yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Good, 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 good. Al, what you got, man?
All right, I threw in "Pursuit of Happiness" as my honorable, just because I think it's got to be my most played song of all time. Every year at the annual music recap we get, it's in my top 10, so got to give it some love. For number three, I put on "Man on the Moon," just because to me that is like the song that really, if I was gonna introduce somebody to Cudi, it'd probably be that song to kind of give them like this is his story, this is how he kind of sees the world, this is how he tries to live. Love that one. Number two would probably be, I'm gonna say Cuddy Zone. That's my super
Ooh.
just like really, I mean, in the zone kind of song. I feel like
Yes.
Cuddy's really on his rager mode with that one, but in like a very inspirational way. And that's another long, long song where it's just like it's still going. He's still just going on and on, but you just get lost in it, and I love it. And then number one for me is definitely Solo Dolo Nightmare. That's I love the dark, moody, introspective stuff. That's what
Hmm.
makes me such a huge kind of like hip hop. That's my favorite vein of hip hop, I'd say. And I think Cudi
Yeah.
just it is absolutely right in that with that song, and yeah, killing it.
Hell yeah. Great top threes from all of us and a great album. Hey, I'm glad I brought it up when I did. But yeah, that was 2009's Man on the Moon Part 1, The End of Day by rap artist Kid Cudi, released in 2009. Go ahead and check it out. It's a fantastic album, great for a debut, kicked off, a pretty great career. Um, yeah, go ahead and give it a listen. Alex, thanks so much for stopping by, man. We love having you on.
Appreciate y'all.
For
Always a
sure.
blast chatting with y'all.
Of course, we will be right back in about two shakes of the lamb's ass to let the people know what's coming in about 2 weeks' time. Go ahead and stick around, and we'll see you next time. Alex, peace. What's up, everybody? We're here. We're here, and we're ready to wrap it up. That was a great episode. Shout out Alex for coming on. Always a blast to have him on. Um, and yeah, three great albums today. We've got three more coming at you that are pretty strong, I would assume. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. We are What You Spinnin'. And we're about to wrap up episode 112. So we go in the order that we talked about today's content, which means, Jake, you're up first, buddy. What you got?
Oh boy, I'm nervous because I don't know how to say this guy's name. I've brought this guy up before in passing. I've heard different projects of his, but not this one. This one I picked up in Portland recently when I went last week. Um, Gabor Zabao, Spellbinder. I have not opened it yet. I will go on this journey with you guys. Um,
Yeah.
I've always been looking at this guy anytime I can at a record store if he has his own section and what
Well,
he has. So,
isn't isn't this the sax player that you showed us when we were in Bend?
um, no, different guy.
Okay. Okay.
Different guy.
I just knew that guy had a fucking weird name too.
Yeah,
That sounds awesome. Gabor Zabo. That's one of the
I
pod
think he's
racers from
like,
Phantom Menace, dude. Okay, you can't tell me
Yeah.
that's one of the guys Anakin raced.
yeah, he's Hungarian, I guess.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, sure, sounds about right. Hell yeah, Matt, what do you
Jake's,
got, dude?
Jake's like, I'll go on this journey with you. That's awesome. I'm
Awesome.
excited to fucking listen to this album. I know it's summertime, but you know me and my ambient style. I'm gonna throw something at you guys to play at night or play early in the morning by an artist we have not brought up. It's from 1988. The album is called The White Arcades by Harold Budd, longtime collaborator with Eno. On in his own right, he's great. I mean, it's nothing like Eno to be honest. So yeah.
Okay, well then I'm gonna switch mine. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh no.
Like it. He's got to think on the fly. He's got to be fast.
This was a
Do you
backup
have,
just in
do you have an
case.
ambient? Was yours an ambient choice too?
No, it was
Oh,
like a softer jazz fusion.
gotcha.
It was
Okay.
like it was like it's jazz fusion, but it's like not. I don't want to. We got to bring a couple things here. So we just talked about, last episode we talked about a great album from 1977. We've talked about this year a lot. It's a great year for music. I'm going with Talking Heads 77, released in 1977. Great album, good summer feel. Uh, some crazy songs on there. Really good bass playing by Tina Weymouth. So yeah, Talking Heads.
Nice. Well, yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, fellas, we did it. That was a hell of an ep. Those are three great albums, I'm sure. White Arcades by Harold Budd. I think I've heard a song or two off that. Couldn't tell you a damn thing about old Zabo over here. Um, but in Talking Heads, I mean, it's great. We've talked about them in passing, but haven't given them a full album yet. So I'm excited to do that. But yeah, this has been episode 112 of What You Spinnin'. We thank you guys for coming and listening and watching. It was great to have Alex on. Tell everybody in the world about us. We're everywhere you find podcasts. support your local record store, your local card shop. I think Matt and I might be doing a card show here in the summer, so I'll let you guys later in the summer. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And yeah, just support local businesses, be a friend, tell a friend, look out for each other, drink water. It's about to get hot as hell, no matter where you are. It's already hot where we are, and that's not good. So, um, and yeah, just like I always say, if you listen to a song and it makes you think of somebody, fucking send it to them. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, we appreciate y'all. We love you. Matt and Jake, thanks again as always. We'll catch you in about 2 weeks' time. This has been What You Spinning. Peace out, y'all.